Adamawa on red alert as measles claims 45 lives. Inflation biting hard as Bauchi residents lament hike in petrol prices. DSS seals community over alleged quackery death in Jos. Around the foreign scene, Netanyahu accused of sabotaging truce talks as delegation heads for Doha. Very good evening and welcome to the news hour on Trust TV. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. The measles outbreak has taken a devastating toll on Adamawa North Senatorial District, with at least 45 confirmed deaths reported. Mubi and Gombe local government areas are the hardest hit by the pandemic, according to Felix Tangwami, the Commissioner for Health and Human Services in Adamawa State. Tangwami revealed this during a briefing with journalists following an Executive Council meeting, indicating that the outbreak has affected 8 wards in Mubi and 7 in Gombe, resulting in 45 fatalities out of 308 reported cases. In response to the crisis, Tangwami disclosed that all 21 local government areas except Lamurde have been placed on high alert. Despite the severity of the situation, he assured that the ministry has taken swift action to manage the outbreak effectively. Tangwami emphasized the collaborative efforts between the government and its partners in addressing the epidemic, highlighting their proactive stance in controlling the spread of the disease. Urging residents to prioritize preventive measures against measles, Tangwami stressed the importance of vigilance and proactive healthcare practices to mitigate the risk of further casualties. And tragedy strikes as 2 separate incidents of landmine explosions in Gamborungala and Dikwa local government areas of Borno State resulted in the loss of 11 lives and injuries to 5 individuals within the past week. Among the casualties are 9 members of the Civilian Joint Task Force who perished in Gamborungala last Saturday, April 27th, and 2 civilians who lost their lives on Saturday, May 4th in Dikwa. According to Bashir Abbas, spokesperson for the Borno State CJTF, the fatal incident in Gamborungala occurred when the vehicle detonated a landmine suspected to have been planted by terrorists just outside the town, instantly claiming 9 lives and leaving 2 severely injured. In a similar vein, a Honda SUV traveling between Dikwa and Damno in Dikwa local government encountered a landmine explosion, resulting in 2 deaths and 3 injuries, as confirmed by a reliable source from the Borno Police Command. The grim aftermath saw the remains of the deceased gathered in sacks for burial, underscoring the devastating impact of these explosions on local communities. The prevalence of landmine explosions suspected to be remnants of past insurgencies or part of new terrorist tactics poses significant challenges to civilian safety in conflict-affected regions. Also, the Borno State Police Command, in a surprising reversal, retracts its earlier confirmation of attacks on police facilities and checkpoints in Maiduguri. Contrary to prior statements acknowledging the incidents, the command now asserts that no breach of security occurred. This about-face is marked by a denial of any attempted invasion by repentant Boko Haram members, despite initial reports indicating that assailants were repelled. The conflicting narratives between official statements and media reports detailing the event have led to a confusion and skepticism among the public. Questions arise regarding the accuracy and transparency of information provided by law enforcement authorities, further complicating the understanding of the situation. Daily Trust had reported an invasion of the police facility located at Ibrahim Taiwo Road, an incident that the police public relations officer, Kenneth Dasso, confirmed to one of our reporters. However, a statement signed by the PPRO on behalf of the Commissioner of Police said there was no security breach in Maiduguri, as reported by the Daily Trust. And earlier we spoke to Daily Trust regional editor Hamisu Matazu. He gives an update on the development.
I cannot speak for them on why they make the U-turn to reverse their earlier statement. But I think the police as formation that's supposed to have integrity, and people so much rely on the information they dish out. we didn't expect that to happen. But we cannot know why they decided to reverse this statement, saying that it didn't occur. And surprisingly, all the places they mentioned that were attacked, the immigration and that of the NDLA checkpoints, it was not mentioned in the earlier statement. And they said they repel the attack at their police station, their police outpost located at Ibrahim Tayo Road. So we cannot. I was a bit confused because the confirmation was made by the PPRO. Then later in the morning, they issue a different statement. So as a reporter, I've never found myself in such a situation.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah.
Now, I'd like to hear from you. As things stand at the moment, is the Divisional Police Office in use?
Yes. Yes. They repelled the attack, so meaning that nothing happened in the outpost, but the checkpoints were burnt down. That's why we come up with the facts we have on ground to tell the world that yes, this thing had happened, and what we reported is actually the fact. Because we were put in on the defensive, because the police said that there was no confirmation from them, and there was no incident like that happened. It was concocted, which we feel that we have to respond with the available facts we have on ground, which we did. And I think we have passed the message, and people understood, even from the reaction we are getting from the public. And this is something that happened within the town. Everybody knows. So even people in the town were surprised. How could the police stood so low to deny what had happened, and what people around that area, everybody knows that this thing happened. Why would they behave the way they did? It's left for them. I don't know why they did that, but we stood by our story, and we responded in the way we should. Yes.
I guess moving forward, we'll get to understand the reason behind the reversal of their initial statement. Now to the landmines issue. Give us an understanding of what kind of threat they pose to the public.
I think this is one of the most difficult time that people found themselves in those areas, because it happens on the Gambarungala road, which many people fly. And what I can say is that this thing has been happening, is on increase. I think every other day you will hear that people ran into the landmine, and the landmine detonated, and people were killed, some were injured. And it has been on and on and on. And this road has a very long stretch. I don't know how the security can take care of that, but the road is most part of the road is damaged, and they take advantage of such areas to plant the landmines. So we don't know what action the security are taking, but the last time, I think last 2 weeks, similar attack happened, and about 6 civilians were killed. And the military promised that they are on top of the situation, and they have educated the populace on what they should do, and what, yes, in the event they saw maybe a sign, because they have issued out some signs that the motorists should be to be on the watch out, so that whenever they saw such signs, they should report to the security operatives around the area, so that the anti-bomb squad can help them to
Still on security, the Nigerian Air Force says strikes by the air component of Operation Hardin K and Well Punch have neutralized several terrorists and destroyed their bases at the Mandara Mountain area near Shiroro local government area of Niger State. The Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet, in a statement on Sunday said the troops intercepted the terrorists at Chinene, a location tucked inside the Mandara Mountain area where terrorists were observed emanating from various locations and assembling for a meeting. Gapquet informed that within the same location, 7 gun trucks were also observed parked under trees. He said an air interdiction was authorized and conducted, leading to the decimation of the terrorists as well as destruction of their weapons and mobility. The Air Force spokesman said similar airstrikes were conducted against terrorists hibernating in Alawa village near Shiroro in Niger State. He said the mission was conducted following credible intelligence which had revealed the migration of terrorists into the village after the mass exit of locals for fear of their safety. And the unending communal attacks in Benue State is generating a debate calling for self-help as a panacea for the insecurity. Amidst ongoing attacks on farming communities in Benue State, residents suggest that resorting to self-help measures may be more effective than relying solely on government rhetoric at all levels. Trust TV's Jimmy Atsande reports.
Over the past week, Benue State has witnessed at least 3 attacks by suspected header militia, leaving residents deeply concerned, particularly about the impact on farming communities. Many feel that in the face of government failures, communities must take matters into their own hands to safeguard their interests.
The headers cannot just come into our state and take over our land unless there is an internal. You cannot just go into a strange land and know everything about that place. Before you come in, you must have somebody who is giving you an information.
The problem in Benue State, let me say that government is number one to, first of all, tackle this problem, because in every state, government is the security of the state. So whatever that is happening in the state, I believe that government is aware of everything.
Residents advocate for youth-led initiatives to protect their communities from external aggression.
Security is in the hands of the federal state. Only the federal state controls the military, the police, the navy, the army, and etc., and even the intelligence gathering. A state governor can only be effective if there's a synergy between the state and the center, that is Aso Rock. And I think this is something that we need to work upon seriously.
The empowerment of the local vigilantes, the empowerment of the local guards, it will go a long way to help tackle the community issues that we face in different communities. And they have more connection and they understand the terrain better to tackle security issues. So I feel that if that is done, it will help to an extent to balance of security issues in the country.
The prevalent wave of farmer header crisis in Benue State since 2018 has instilled fear among farmers, discouraging them from cultivating their farmlands due to the heightened risks for losing their lives, a grim reality that has become commonplace in many communities. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Bauchi State residents expressed dissatisfaction with the Nigerian government's lack of responsiveness in addressing the challenges faced by the ordinary citizens. They cite scarce resources as the high cost of petroleum premium motor spirit, which exacerbates various issues within the community. This sentiment reflects broader concerns about the nation's current state, particularly in light of recent price hikes in petroleum products bought by independent marketers.
Residents of Bauchi interviewed by Trust TV describe premium motor spirit as indispensable to many Nigerians. Ahmed Ibrahim and Muhammad Aliyu, both family men with 5 and 7 children respectively, employed in the state capital, lament their inability to afford the upkeep of their motorcycles due to the recent price hike. Because what I earn is not sufficient to buy fuel and feed my family simultaneously, I have opted to leave the motorcycle at home and walk several kilometers to work. Even if I have some extra money due to the fuel scarcity, I will endure the journey on foot to ensure we can afford food. We should be able to purchase fuel despite the price hike, but it's becoming increasingly difficult with our limited funds, leading to struggles at the filling stations. If our government were responsible, they would address this situation. We feel cornered now. They should take the necessary action. A motorcycle mechanic and a household representative share their perspective on the enduring challenges stemming from both official filling station and black market sellers of PMS. They emphasize that despite the price hikes, Nigerians continue to feel the impact of scarcity. I managed to buy fuel half a liter from the black market at 700 naira, but fuel is not readily available. Only a few stations have it, with queues up to 300 customers waiting to purchase. I can't wait any longer with what little I have. I must do something to provide food for my family. May God help us. Our leaders need to act swiftly. Due to this fuel crisis, prices have skyrocketed in the market. Everything, including basic commodities, is now 3 times more expensive. The price of PMS varies across filling stations, with 1 liter now cost 1,500 naira. We need the government to address this issue urgently because the Nigerian people are unhappy. Residents also lament the behavior of independent petroleum marketers, accusing some filling stations of holding the commodity to the detriment of the masses. They express frustration over the government's perceived inability to address the issue effectively. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And the Tomato Crate Dealers Association of Nigeria and the Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria have threatened to cut tomato supply to Lagos State over alleged destruction and burning of their commodities. The National Chairman, Tomato Crate Dealers Association, Ahmed Alarama, who disclosed this at a press briefing in Zaria, said the incident that occurred at Agege local government of Lagos State has destroyed over 60,000 empty tomato crates. Alarama, who is also the National Secretary of Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria, explained that the raffia basket was initially used for conveying tomatoes to the south, adding, however, that raffia baskets cause more damage to the tomatoes. He added that the plastic crates were introduced to mitigate damage and wastage while conveying fresh tomatoes from north to southern parts of Nigeria. According to him, each empty crate cost 6,000 naira, noting that members lost over 360 million naira investment to the clash.
If government didn't intervene into, we are going to call a strike. We are going to call Lagos State. If nothing has been done, maybe we will stop sending the tomatoes into that state entirely because of this loss that we have encountered.
Sir, if you see,
I'm the General Secretary of Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria. Therefore, we are going to call a meeting of Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria because of this issue. We are going to sit down on Monday in Abuja. If nothing has been done, everybody are going to stop supplying tomatoes at night.
Only tomatoes?
Only tomatoes, because it happens to tomatoes.
On the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC is rejecting claims circulating in certain media outlets alleging the release of a comprehensive list of former governors under investigation for corruption. Responding to a report titled EFCC releases full list of 58 ex-governors that embezzled 2.187 trillion naira, the EFCC refutes any involvement in the dissemination of such a list or discussions with media regarding investigations of former governors. The EFCC emphasizes that the purported list is a baseless fabrication, highlighting the malicious intent behind its creation. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly. After nearly 10 years, Taraba Nwonyo Fishing Festival returns. This and of course other stories after the break. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Now, recap of our top stories again. Adamawa on red alert as measles claims 45 lives. And inflation biting hard as Bauchi residents lament hike in petrol prices. And to other stories now, the Apex Igbo socio-cultural group Ohanize Ndigbo has demanded an immediate apology to the Ukachukwu brothers and their subsequent compensation by the federal government over what it called the demolition of their real estate investment at Asokoro Extension on the orders of the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. Officials of the Federal Capital Development Agency had on the 27th of March 2024 invaded the project site with a detachment of over 300 security personnel, including the Army, the Navy, the police, and many others, and demolished the properties. Speaking with journalists in Abuja, the President General Ohanize Ndigbo Worldwide, Chief Engineer Emmanuel Iwanyawu, who was represented and also called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene on the matter as a panacea for peace, equity, and justice.
Other past FCT ministers were not ignorant of the law governing FCTA land acquisition. Therefore, it is instructive also to note that the Okachukwu brothers are law-abiding citizens with national honors who acquired their wealth through dint of hard work and the unwavering commitment for excellence. And they have contributed immensely to peace, development, and overall well-being of the Federal Capital Territory.
And elsewhere, the Department of State Security took action on Sunday, sealing Al Ihsan Clinic in Ngwanrogo Community, Jos North Local Government Area of Plateau State. The closure follows allegations of quackery and the reported death of a patient who underwent treatment at the clinic. The demise of a woman last week, purportedly following surgery performed by Lukman Abdul, has ignited controversy in the community. While many link the death to the surgery, Lukman denies any responsibility for the tragedy. Community sources revealed that the DSS intervened following complaints filed with the State Ministry of Health and the DSS regarding alleged quackery at the clinic. Sadis Muhammad Al-Basu, a community member, highlights concerns over Lukman's lack of medical qualifications and his unauthorized performance of surgical procedures. Also, residents of British American Junction in Jos North Local Government Area of Plateau State are accusing the Plateau State government of demolishing their houses without any justifiable reason or prior notice. According to the community, the action has caused them to suffer avoidable losses to the tune of several millions of naira, while some have lost their sources of livelihood. Trust TV's Ado Musa completes the report.
According to the affected resident of the community, the demolition was a deliberate attempt to force them out of the area. They explained that the plot of the land on which they were building were duly purchased from a former chairman of Lantan North Local Government Area, Mr. Alfred Gono, adding that they were provided with all the necessary documentation after acquiring the land. They emphasized that both the Jos Metropolitan Development Board, JMDB, and the State Ministry of Land and Survey had acknowledged the purchase of the plots, pointing out that it was the same Ministry of Lands and Survey that issued a site plan before they began building in the area.
JNDB sun zo sun shigo wannan gurin ba tare da mun zauna da su ko sun neme mu ba da sauran.
Officials of the Jos Metropolitan Development Board, JMDB, just arrived the area without giving us any prior notice. The board did not inquire how and when we got the plot of the land. They just started demolishing our houses. If they are claiming we are building on the waterways, then I urge you to go and see it yourself. What about houses that were built far from the waterway? They were also demolished.
Wannan guri an zo an sayar mana shi kuma wanda ya sayar mana gurin jenu ne.
That sold this land to us is alive. It was legally acquired. We have all our papers which we are certified by the Jos Metropolitan Development Board, Ministry of Land and Survey, and even traditional rulers of the community as far back as 2021. What is our offense? We don't even understand why the houses were demolished. The Jos Metropolitan Development Board has not done well to demolish our houses. Any demolition is always carried out with following an order of a court of competent jurisdiction and a notice to that effect. The day they came was the same day they demolished the houses. Go and see the distance between the waterway and the building. What have we done to deserve this? Responding to the allegations, the General Manager, Jos Metropolitan Development Board, Had Bankert, said the buildings were erected on the waterway.
Building is being done is simply to be able to inspect, direct and guide you on whether it is supposed to be existent there or not. And we always emphasize that there are condemnable and non-condemnable buildings. And you know, when people remain recalcitrant, the major thing they want to do is to go ahead and dare government. Now today we have come not just to make a statement, we are not doing this as a show off. We are telling anybody who is building on waterways, even before the executive order number 3 came out, the governor was magnanimous enough to have given them 3 months grace for everybody to regularize his paper, so that for those who are condemnable, they pay and get their approvals. For those that are not condemnable, they will have to start taking them off. But I think this is going to be a strong message to them, to know that we are not joking about it. So anybody who does not have an approval and feels he wants to dare government, he can go ahead.
It will be recalled that the state government had recently signed Executive Order number 003 of 2024 for the control of building and vehicular traffic in the state. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
And we'll go on another quick break, and when we return, the news hour continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. After close to a 10-year hiatus, the Umuyo Fishing Festival in Taraba State has sprung back to life. The socio-cultural festival has been a selling point of tourism since its inception and has attracted many from within and outside the state. Take a look.
Communities around River Ibi, which flows from the mountains of Cameroon, engage in fishing all around the year. In a bid to celebrate this year's long fishing activity, the state government annually throws its weight behind the Umuyo Fishing and Cultural Festival in Ibi local government area as part of its tourism drive. The festival is one of the oldest of its kind in Africa and dates back to nearly 100 years ago. It usually holds in Umuyo Lake, located some 5 kilometers north of Ibi town. The name Umuyo means hideout, which literally describes the river as a hiding place for aquatic animals like crocodile, hippopotamus, and others. The festival has over the years co-opted various activities such as boat racing, swimming, boat regatta, masquerade dances, as well as fishing competition, which is the main event. However, the festival was abandoned for almost 10 years before the coming of the present administration of Agbu Kefes, which revived it. In his speech as chairman of the annual Umuyo Fishing and Cultural Festival, the former Minister of Defense, retired General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, enjoyed the leadership of the country to address the rising insecurity, among other vices bedeviling the country, to ensure an even development across the nation.
We must put our own house in order. We must have peace in our state. We must have peace throughout the country.
The Taraba State Governor, Abu Kefes, who stated that his administration is committed to ensuring justice and peace so that development can take its rightful course, maintained that efforts have been made to attract investment in the area of tourism.
Please feel free to relate to the people in this environment, and the people in this environment ensure that everybody that came to this place is safe. Actually, Taraba State is a nature's gift to the nation, and this is one of those nature that we're trying to sell to the whole world.
Dignitaries at the occasion, among whom were the Adamawa State Governor Umar Fintri, Senator representing Taraba Central Haruna Manu, Minister of Tourism Lola Adijon, Minister of Art and Culture Halima Musawa, all commended the governor for the initiative and called on people of the state to support him to achieve his vision for the state.
Through our culture of industry, discipline, commitment, accommodation, courage, and peaceful coexistence, we will enhance our social, political, and economic well-being. Education will, in its own right, enhance the application of this knowledge and cultural values, which are the central to the lives of the people for the good of the nation and the state in general.
We want this event to be recognized not only nationally, but we want the event to be recognized internationally. And I want to assure you that if there's anything we can do, we as members of the National Assembly, I want to assure you that we will support you. We will support you to ensure that this festival is not only recognized nationally, but is being recognized internationally.
The Wo International Fishing and Cultural Festival not only celebrates our collective identity, but also serve as a beacon of our hope, highlighting the resilience and strength of our people in the face of challenge. It is a reminder of the importance of preserving our tradition while embracing progress and innovation.
As we celebrate today, let us remember that our strength lies in our unity. Let us continue to bridge the gap between generations, passing down the stories, values, and custom that defines us. Let us also embrace innovation, for our culture is not static. It evolves with time while remaining rooted in its essence.
The biggest fish caught weighed 170 kg by Hudu Yakubu, who emerged the overall winner, followed by another weighing 150 kg, while the third prize went to another who caught a fish weighing 120 kg.
And to other news now, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, has dismantled an international drug syndicate with operations spanning Nigeria, South Africa and Thailand. In a two-week intelligence-led operation across Lagos, Abia and Anambra states, 5 suspects were apprehended following the seizure of illicit drug consignments at the narco import shed of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Lagos. The unraveling of the drug cartel began on April 20th when 4 large suitcases arrived at the narco shed on an Air Peace airline flight from Johannesburg, South Africa. The first suspect, Umechi Sompita, was arrested on April 24th while attempting to collect 2 of the suitcases containing Loud, a synthetic strain of cannabis owned by a Thailand-based syndicate member, Obum Michael. The suitcases were found to contain a total of 17.6 kilograms of Loud and drug candies concealed in a false bottom. Another member of the syndicate, Chiwendu Uche Ugbe, was apprehended in Anambra State on April 27th while attempting to collect drug parcels sent by her husband from South Africa. 2 additional suspects, Onyejako Francis Chimeze and Naji Valentine Chukukere, were arrested in Lagos on April 29th. And no fewer than 7 suspects, including 5 teenagers, have been arrested in Anambra State for cultism and robbery. Disclosing the arrest in a statement on Saturday night, the police public relations officer in the state, Tochukwu Ikenga, said the suspects were nabbed on Friday. Accused of terrorizing Anambra State residents, the police spokesman stated that they were apprehended when some police operatives from the Special Anti-Cult Squad were on patrol along Unizik Junction in the area on the fateful day. He said at the junction, the operatives intercepted a tricycle and arrested 5 male occupants of the tricycle, including its rider. Operatives, in a bid to question them, the occupants took to their heels while the others escaped. Chukuma Ozokwe was arrested, he said. Ikenga said Ozokwe later led the police operatives to their hideout where two other suspects, Chidozie Anago, 18, and Chukwemeka Onyoka, 18, were arrested. On his part, the acting commissioner of police in Anambra State, Fidelis Ogarabe, charged the operatives to sustain the fight against criminals in the state. The acting police commissioner directed that all the suspects should be charged in court upon conclusion of investigations. And also, the police in Delta State have commenced investigation into the tanker accident that claimed 8 lives at Ometa Community Junction of Okpe local government area of the state. Addressing newsmen at the scene of the incident, DCP Aino Adeshola said the police team was in the area on a fact-finding mission following the directive of the Commissioner of Police, Abiniwanda, to ascertain the actual cause of the accident and how the tanker explosion and its devastating consequences occurred. DCP Ademola said CP Abaniwanda expressed his sincere sympathy with the families who lost their loved ones in the tragic incident and prayed God to console them. Recall that a fuel tanker on high speed along the Warri-Saple road fell off, leading to an explosion that resulted in the fire outbreak that took the lives of 7 persons, including a 16-year-old secondary school girl and her mother, who were trapped in their apartment, were among those that died. Several private and business buildings in the area, including an oil company's complex and other property and vehicles, were also razed by the fire resulting from the explosion. You're still watching the News Hour on Trust TV. More news when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching the News Hour on Trust TV. And to some business, global credit ratings agency Fitch has projected further hike in monetary policy rates by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, in the second half of the year. This was disclosed in its recently released credit outlook for Nigeria, where the country's sovereign credit default outlook was raised from stable to positive on the back of recent reforms in the monetary policy and oil and gas sector. According to the report, the hike in interest rates in the first quarter of the year has seen the Apex Bank carry out open market operations at rates closer to the MPR. The agency further projected inflation, the major target of the MPR hike by the CBN, to moderate to 26.3% later this year and 18.2% by 2025. And to stories outside Nigeria, Hamas officials said Sunday the group's delegation for Gaza truce talks in Cairo was heading to Qatar as truce talks with mediators in the Egyptian capital closed without a breakthrough. The Palestinian group says it wants guarantees from the United States that Israel will not launch a ground invasion in Rafah, as officials in Israel, which is yet to send a delegation to Cairo, insist the attack will happen regardless of whether a ceasefire deal is reached. Israel's army also announced on Sunday that it had closed Karem Shalom, a key border crossing used to deliver humanitarian aid to southern Gaza, after an attack for which Hamas claimed responsibility. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday sharpened his rejection of Hamas's demands for an end to the Gaza war in exchange for the freeing of hostages, saying that would keep the Palestinian Islamist group in power and pose a threat to Israel. Meanwhile, the Israeli cabinet has voted unanimously to close Al Jazeera's operation in the country. The communications minister says the order against the network will go into effect immediately. Al Jazeera Media Network calls the move a criminal act that violates human rights.
Throughout the negotiations, Israel demonstrated a willingness to go a long way that was described by US Secretary of State Blinken and others as extraordinarily generous. But while Israel showed this willingness, Hamas remained entrenched in its extreme positions, chief among them the demand to withdraw all our forces from the Strip, end the war and leave Hamas intact. The State of Israel cannot accept this. We are not ready to accept a situation in which the Hamas battalions come out of their bunkers, take control of Gaza again, rebuild their military infrastructure and return to threatening the citizens of Israel in the surrounding settlements, in the cities of the south, in all parts of the country.
Hezbollah retaliated against Israel on Sunday by launching dozens of rockets at northern Israel after an Israeli strike in South Lebanon reportedly killed a couple and their child. The Iran-backed group claimed responsibility for firing dozens of Katyusha and Falak rockets at Kiryat Shomna in northern Israel in response to the strike in Meis al-Jabal, which it alleged resulted in civilian casualties. According to Lebanese state media and local officials, an Israeli airstrike on a southern village killed several members of the same family, prompting Hezbollah to retaliate with rocket fire. The strike in Mai al-Jabal reportedly killed 4 civilians, including a man, a woman, and their 2 children, with 2 others injured. Hezbollah's statement indicated that the rocket attacks on Kiryat Shomna were in retaliation for what they termed a horrific crime committed by Israel. And elsewhere, the devastating floods and mudslide in southern Brazil have claimed the lives of at least 57 people and displaced nearly 70,000 from their homes, according to the country's civil defense agency. The catastrophic flooding has also left 74 people injured, with 67 others reportedly missing. The toll of the disaster does not include 2 individuals who tragically died in an explosion at a flooded gas station in Petro Alegre, where rescue efforts were underway. The situation has been exacerbated by rapidly rising water levels in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, putting strain of dams on and posing a significant threat to the economically vital city of Porto Alegre, home to 1.4 million residents. The Guaíba River, which traverses the city, has reached a historic high of 5.04 meters, surpassing the previous record set during devastating floods in 1941. And in Africa, Niger Republic has welcomed new Russian military advisors and equipment, as reported by state television. The influx includes about 100 advisors and air defense systems, with additional cargo planes bringing more materials and instructors over the past month. The Africa Corps, successor to the Wagner paramilitary group, confirmed the arrival of instructors to move comes amid tensions over U.S. troops at a Nigerian air base, with Nigeria's military regime seeking the departure of French and American forces. Negotiations are ongoing between the U.S. and Niger regarding the withdrawal of American troops who have a significant presence, including a key drone base near Agadez. The military leaders of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have been forging closer ties with Russia amidst ongoing conflict with rebel groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, while recent arrests in Niger suggest increased scrutiny over potential Russian influence. And in sports, defending champions Golden Eaglets of Nigeria will face Burkina Faso in their opening fixture at the Wafu B Under-17 Championship. The Eaglets defeated same opponents 2-1 in the final of the competition 2 years ago. Nigeria and Burkina Faso will clash at the University Stadium on Thursday, May 16. Manu Garba's side will take on Togo in their second game at the ground on Sunday, May 19. The last group game against Togo is scheduled for Accra Stadium on Wednesday, May 22nd. Host Ghana will face Cote d'Ivoire in the opening fixture of the competition. The finalists will represent the zone at the Africa Cup Under-17 Cup of Nations. And in the Premier League, West Ham have conceded 5 goals in each of their last 2 away games, losing 5-2 against Crystal Palace on 21st April and are now almost certain to miss out on a 4th successive season in European competition. They have won just 1 of their last 8 fixtures in the Premier League, losing 4 times during that sequence, although they did draw with Liverpool last time out. Moyes, in an interview with Sky Sports, said the fans have been great, but he feels bad for them. The 61-year-old returned for his second stint in charge of West Ham in December 2019 and has overseen a largely positive period in the club's history. The Scot led the Hammers to the Europa League semi-final in 2021-2022 and they went on to win the Europa Conference League in 2022 to 2023, ending a 43-year wait for a major trophy. But his days appear to be numbered, with the current campaign fizzling out and widespread frustration among the fan base. The sheer amount of goals conceded, 70, has left them fighting a losing battle, with only Burnley with 74, Luton 78 and Sheffield United, who all sit in the bottom three, holding a worse defense record. And that wraps up the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentary. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching and have a good night.